Here.
Alder DePua.
Here.
Alder Kugel.
Here.
Alder Rademacher.
Here.
Mayor Moore.
Here.
Alder Bernstein and Holmquist are excused.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
Pledge
to the
allegiance
flag
to
of
the
the
flag
United
of
States
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
The delay wasn't too bad on that one.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Do I have a second?
No,
Leah
you're not.
time to get them in the packet.
Let's see, were
No.
they?
Sorry, Doug, was that a second?
No, there are no minutes in the packet.
There are no minutes.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I've been assuming, I'm not seeing anybody on screen making appearances or anybody in the room.
No appearances, Mayor.
No appearances, okay? Thank you. There is no public hearing. There is no consent agenda. That takes us to action items. Number G1, unfinished business. 1A, consideration of resolution 25-7-2816, amending tax increment district number 10, put forward by the Community Development Authority. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Motion to approve? Oh, second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this resolution?
I think, were we gonna have Katrina answer?
She
I don't
is, she
know
is
that
certainly,
I-
if anybody would like, then Katrina is available to provide additional information
I mean,
if anyone would like it, so.
I know Alder Bernstein had a number of questions the last meeting, but I think you answered those by email.
And I think the one request Alder Bernstein made specifically was to, if we could email or mail contact a couple of the owners within one of the districts, and Director Plowman did follow up and completed that task, so.
Okay, then I don't have any.
I have a
Well,
question.
Okay,
If Alder Bernstein asked his questions during our last meeting, therefore they would be recorded, just in case he was asking them on behalf of someone who might be watching tonight, would it be okay to share the answers that were emailed to him on the recording?
I would
Or
say,
that-
I guess I would ask Alder if anyone was interested in that, we'd happily forward that email on.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. Hearing no other questions, all those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
And Mayor,
Number
just,
one.
Mayor, just to be on the safe side, just because of the delay, can we go ahead and ask her if there's any opposed when we do votes, just to be on the safe side?
Okay.
Just with the delay, I just want to make sure we don't miss anybody.
Thank you. Anybody opposed? Okay, hearing none. Anybody abstaining? Hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor.
No problem, I appreciate it. G1B, consideration of resolution 25-7-2817, amending tax increment district number 13 from the Community Development Authority. Excuse me, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. Any other discussion on this resolution? Questions on this resolution?
Could you just identify, Katrina or Doug, where the boundaries, which district is 13?
13 is Pirate Island. And Falcon Circle.
Okay.
Parcels.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Anybody abstaining? The motion carries. That takes us to item number G 1C, consideration of resolution 25-7-2818, amending tax increment district number 15, also put forward by the Community Development Authority. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second, motion and a second. Any other questions, comments, concerns about this particular resolution?
Same question as for the last one.
Sure. Yep. So TID 15 is the where the Topgolf development is. So the WPS campus area.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those against? Any abstentions? The motion carries, the resolution carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks very much, Doug. That takes us to item number G, D, consideration of ordinance 7-25-791, amending section 33.5-3 of the Monona Code of Ordinances regarding firearm discharges put forward by the Public Safety Committee. I know Doug had some concerns about this at the last meeting, and I don't know, cannot see if the chief.
Chief is here, Mayor.
Okay, great. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Then we are into discussion. Questions for the chief?
Yeah, I do. Just to be, or maybe this is for Neil, just to be clear, the proposal in front of us has been amended since the first read. Okay, and could one of you want to summarize or describe what the change was?
Yeah, I think just very briefly, I think the sentence that's highlighted on top, and I'm going to look over Alderman so he's actually got it up. Essentially, we're, kind of moved the version of the language about exception granted by the authority of the chief down to a specific item. I think in item A1A is where the chief's authorization specifically lies regarding ceremonial discharges. The previous items, those three items that were added, besides that, were previously listed under, I think, got placed under the archery section of the ordinance. There's actually a firearm section and an archery section. So we simply didn't catch that the first time through. So we simply removed those three from the archery section and placed them up into the subsection on firearms.
Great.
And if I may,
You may.
thank you. Just to give a little history, I apologize for missing the last meeting. You all were in and out of here in about 40 minutes. So I apologize for being late. So this came about due to a request that was made to the parks in regards to an organizer wanting to have a ceremony at Ahuska near the memorial for a celebration of life, and the request was specifically for the discharging of ceremonial firearms, which in my belief was indeed a discharge and was in violation of ordinance. Now, I will say, in just being fully candid here, that has happened in Monona with a local funeral home in which they've given the police department me notice, as well as the cemetery and Memorial Day parade at the beginning of the parade. So these are, I'm trying to correct an issue and to be lawful and allow a ceremonial discharge of the firearm for those specific events. And so that's the history of this change.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions for the chief or about this particular ordinance change?
I'll just wrap up my my concern rather, last time was that it just sort of gave the chief sort of carte blanche authority to authorize discharges. So this ties it down to, a specific thing that he was working on. So that satisfies my concerns.
Great, thank you. Anybody else?
I just want to say I appreciate Alder Wood for raising that concern. Thank you.
And I appreciate the chief for wanting to get our ordinance in alignment with practice.
Practice.
Good point.
Okay, that being the case, since this is an ordinance change, I do believe the clerk should call the roll.
Alder DePula,
Aye.
Alder Kugel,
Aye.
Alder Rademacher,
Aye.
Alder Wood.
Aye.
Okay? The ordinance change passes. Thank you, Chief. Thank you all. That takes us to 2, new business, 2A, consideration of ordinance 7-25-792, amending chapters 175 and 480 of the fees, fines, and penalty schedule regarding building inspection and zoning fees put forth by the Planning and Community Development Director. Doug?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. So the request here this evening is to adjust a few fees. They're both in Chapter 175 of Building, just one item there, but also 480 of Zoning as well. The goal here really is to adjust a few items that really are overdue, an update that really should be looked at, to align with our peer communities nearby as well, but also to reflect the staff time that goes into these and to more accurately pass the cost onto the applicants rather than to the taxpayer as well. So as far as the fees, I'm happy to run through them, discuss some of the reasoning as well as, of course, answer any questions. As far as building, the request here is for reinspection fees to go up. This relates to some feedback from the building inspector, just with some calls that have been put in that are really not ready for inspection. Of course, there's a time there. This is a contracted employee. There's time, cost associated with that, and something that really is to be addressed. And so the company that the building inspector works for, General Engineering Company, they also have their own fee schedule that some communities choose to adopt. This tracks in line and is actually just slightly less than that, and so seems an appropriate fee to increase, and of course to seek compliance and just again reflect the time and effort that goes into this. As far as 480, a few different items here. The first being the Zoning Board of Appeals, the variance application fee. This has not changed in the 6 years that I've been with the city. This is also to reflect the additional staff time that will be going into this. I met with the chair of the ZBA, Alder Holmquist, as well as one of the members. There was some feedback about the materials that are being submitted, as well as the sort of completeness of the applications. I'm going to be instituting a pre-application meeting with myself to kind of run through this ahead of the application deadline. So there'll be more staff time. There are legal posting requirements as part of the zoning board, as well as mailings. So this more accurately reflects the time, the costs that go into this, but also does track well with the adjacent communities. The next two on the memo really relate to zoning permits and specifically commercial uses. So these are most often coming through Plan Commission. It's more of a clarification, the use versus the construction. So a use would be a new occupancy of the space with very limited review. There wouldn't be any or very little review of architecture, lighting, those kind of things, kind of the more detailed elements. It would more be the appropriateness of the use. So that is proposed to remain the same. New commercial construction would be more. There's just more associated with that. It tracks a little bit more closely with sort of a traditional conditional use permit. There are elements to the review, including things like landscaping, lighting, architecture, those kind of things. The rezoning here is proposed. It's a less used item within the fee schedule. But again, we'll typically have sort of initial meetings with the applicant, pre-hearing, as well as a formal meeting with the Plan Commission. Will also come to City Council. And again, there are legal noticing requirements, things of that nature that also need to be captured. General Development Plan is the tool that you will see used for most of our new development projects. Most recently, River Place came through for that. This fee was already captured within the schedule for the General Development Plan, kind of the overall master plan, but the proposal here would be to include that for each phase as well. So the precise implementation plan is where we get into the details of a 1 or 2 phased or even more developments, and that's where we get into the specifics. Again, some of the details that I just mentioned for zoning permit. So the proposal here is to have that for each phase, and again, that tracks with other communities. As far as sign permits, no proposal or no change proposed as far as the value per square or the cost per square foot, but simply the minimum. Again, just the staff time associated with that, the back and forth with the applicant, just raising the floor of that from $50 to $75 minimum. The final one is the zoning verification letter. This is a letter that comes from myself that sort of verifies, typically it's associated with the sale of a commercial property or something like that. But I do check in with colleagues in both building and fire just to check there are no violations on record. And again, just reflecting the time, the document searching and things like that that go into this, increasing that, and again, that appears to track well. So, like I said, the goal here, couple different things, is really covering the costs of the city, realigning some of these that have honestly just fallen behind a little bit, I would say. But also just passing the cost back onto the applicant, the true cost that the city is working with this. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Doug. Allow me to extend my gratitude again to you and to Thor for digging to look at what other communities are charging and what's fair in terms of our extension of resources to make sure that all these things get done. And I will just let everybody know that the Finance and Personnel voted in support of the changes this evening. If you have any, as always, if you have any questions between now and the next meeting, this is not started for immediate approval, so you'll see it again at the next meeting, and feel free to reach out to Doug with any questions.
Thank you, Mayor.
Can I ask a question now?
You can.
So for the additional inspection or reinspection fee with the contractor that we use, does this proposed change now cover their cost for the re-inspection?
Yes, it
Okay.
does. So when they're here, it's more of an hourly cost that's associated with that, but it could be across the city, or there's some travel associated with that. So just for the record, if they, some communities, they bill directly, they have their own fee schedule, they're using $85, so I think it tracks very closely with that. And this one, of all the ones that proposed, is intended for the to sort of be the true cost and sort of remind applicants of call when needed rather than ahead of time or something like that. So it is expected to fully cover the cost.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, can I add this is Neil, can I add a quick comment too?
You absolutely can.
In addition to covering costs, this is an encouragement for compliance with requirements of the different applications as well. It does, folks certainly don't want to get, I think even especially our commercial developers aren't going to want to be in the habit of going and have to repay fees to come back in and continually have staff come back out, whether it's contracted staff or someone on Director Plowman's staff. So it is an encouraging, it is an enforcement tool and a compliance tool as well as, but certainly we're happy to take the additional revenue to help cover the additional costs as well.
Yeah, Neil, I would just echo as the former chair of the Plan Commission. I know how painful it can sometimes be for our plan department to get all the pieces of various applications from developers and and others in order to pull a packet together for review by the Plan Commission. So I completely concur that anything that we can do to incentivize compliance should be a good thing. Any other questions for Doug at this juncture? Hearing none. Then again, feel free to reach out to Doug and ask questions between now and the next meeting. And Doug, I again appreciate the work of you and Thor to pull this all together.
Thank you very much.
That takes us to H, reports of committees, commissions, boards, mayor, city administrator, city attorney, department managers, sustainability efforts, and diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI efforts. I'll start with the alders, as always. Patrick?
Parks met this past week, last week, and we discussed budget. We also discussed some issues of the pool and approved there's a pump issue that needed to be replaced yet this season that needed to be special ordered, and we should get it before the end of the season. So it should get into place in mid-August. And then public safety meets this week.
Great.
That's all I got.
Thank you. Alder Rademacher?
Community media met on the 10th. Continued conversation about budget in that meeting. Our transit commission meeting was canceled on the 9th. And no other meetings since our last council meeting other than those. Just looking forward, tomorrow night, there is an event I just wanted to remind people about. It is at the library, Tuesday, July 22nd, starting at 6:30 p.m. The library is hosting an event all about electric vehicles. So if you're interested in learning more about electric vehicles, stop over to the park at 6:30. I don't believe there's any need to register, although registry is appreciated, just so they understand how many people are expected. Adults, teenagers, everybody is welcome to attend. The second thing I'll say from the Sustainability Committee is that some of you may be following the news, and you know that there was recently a big, beautiful bill that was passed, which removed the 30% federal tax rebates for environmental changes to a home, such as the installation of solar panels on your roof, very, very typically something like that. Or perhaps air source heat pumps, replacing your natural gas furnace, things like that. Sustainability Committee just had an article in the last newsletter reminding people that those credits are going to be expiring at the end of this calendar year. So it's really the time, if you've been on the fence about making these kinds of changes, you're encouraged to really jump at that, and now's the time to do it. 30% off the total cost of your project is a pretty significant cost savings. So, and those are my report.
Does that, Alder Rademacher, does that also not apply to EVs?
There is a credit for EVs. I don't know that it's 30% of the cost. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is not.
Right, but it
is
also winds down at the end of the year.
Correct, absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you. Doug?
Landmarks met last week. We recommended, excuse me, approval of the Kathy Thomas, Bill Thomas, Edna Thomas house as a local landmark, and that will be coming to the council at a future meeting. We also approved submitting an application to the State Historical Society for the Frostwood Historic District that will then, once the state gets done reviewing it, it goes to the National Park Service. That's it.
Great. Doug, since you raised the Thomas House, could you be so kind as to briefly share what the local designation of a house means for potential homeowners?
Well, it means that if they want to make alterations, significant alterations to the exterior of the home, they have to get a certificate of appropriateness from the Landmarks Commission. If it's turned down, there's an appeal process to the city council, I believe. If you're in the process of, a lot of it requires process. Like if you want to demolish a landmark, you would have to also get approval to do that. And if you are in the process of selling a landmark property and you can show that it's preventing, you're not able to get market value offers on it, you're able to go back to the Landmarks Commission and ask for the designation to be removed.
Great, and I understand that there's some national research on what the implications of being a landmark does to property values, and I think there's maybe perhaps confusion there. Can you clarify that?
Yeah, so as far as I'm aware, and Rebecca Holmquist, who's on the commission, is a lot better versed in this than I am, but in general, landmark status actually increases the property value. It's obviously going to be a property-specific thing, but that's what the research shows.
Okay. Thank you.
I would
Neil,
also just share.
did I see you pulling the microphone over to yourself?
Oh, sorry. Since we are talking about it, I would just share that I didn't know this before getting into it with the commission, that house was built in 1931 and was the first international style house, not just in Monona, but in the entire state of Wisconsin. So, and it's
Wow.
pretty much unchanged since then.
Very cool. Thank you. Rachel?
I don't have any updates to share.
Okay. Thank you. Neil?
Actually, Alder Kubel's being, we subjected her to her first tourism commission meeting, and she did great. She asked some great questions, so we're glad to have her on board. Just very quickly, obviously, we're sitting in the room that has had a few swings in temperature over the last few days. Brad is working hard to ascertain the issue. We think it's a software and firmware issue between the older part of the controls and the new part of the controls. It's way more technical than anything I know how to understand, but we pretty much have solved the problem temporarily by shutting off the boiler manually, literally pulling the plug on that to get us down there. So we'll certainly keep council updated as to that, as to what the actual problem is, and then hopefully some options to proceed on getting it repaired, either short-term and or long-term. So stay tuned on that. And I think that's all I have for tonight.
Okay, thank you. Elaine?
No report.
Sorry, did you have anything?
Nope, no report.
Okay. And I think the chief might still be there.
Chief's here. Yep, here he comes.
Thank you, Mayor. Hello, Council. A couple of meeting announcements. Well, one meeting announcement and one event announcement. Police and Fire Commission will be meeting on July 31st to evaluate and or consider for approval one full-time officer candidate due to a vacancy that we have, and then one part-time officer candidate. I will share with you the full-time candidate is currently employed with the City of Beloit Police Department and looking to change, and has performed quite well during our internal process, and now is, of course, going to be evaluated by the powers that be, the Police and Fire Commission per state statute. And so that's very promising on my end. And then our part-time candidate called me up. He is former Madison police officer that took a change to go on the dark side, the fire department, for another municipality. But his words, I'm still young, and working 8 hours a week, or 8 days a week, is a lot of free time. And so he explored potentially picking up a part-time assignment with us. And part-time work for us means filling shift vacancies, helping out with conveyances to Winnebago Mental Health, working events, et cetera. And he is very excited at that opportunity. So he'll be presented before the Police and Fire Commission on the 31st as well. National Night Out, if you haven't already marked your calendars, is August 12th from 5 to 7 here at Winnequa Park. And then lastly, just information, since I have all of you here, all but two, sorry. We are trying something new with traffic. Not new in terms of a technique, but new to us in doing what we'll call a dummy car, utilizing one of our decommissioned cars to position throughout some of our traffic hotspot areas. And you never know if it's going to be a car with nobody in it or if it's going to be a car with an officer in it. So we've seen that tactic work at various municipalities, Cottage Grove being probably the closest one. I know some Prairie's tried that out and others have with some great success. So we're going to give that a whirl and throw that into our total traffic enforcement package and see how that does. So right now it's sitting on Bridge Road. There may be a cop in there later today. But, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Is there any other staff members in the room, since I can't see the room?
Where are you, Mayor?
Okay, thank you very much. I just have two things. One is I wanted to report that we learned from our finance director, Mark Whitaker, that at Finance and Personnel, that we are on target, on budget, mid-year, for the vast majority of our expenditures and revenues. So I just wanted to reassure our committee, we obviously track that month to month, and but mid-year, quarterly and mid-year being part of that is certainly an important data point, and Mark's report was really solid and very much appreciated. And I want to extend my gratitude to the staff for that and keeping their eyes on the budget as always. And then the second thing I would just say is, as some alders may already know, my business schedule has decidedly shifted, which was to take me out of town for a wee bit of August and in and out of town basically for September, and that's all been shifted, so I will be in town for the duration and look forward to being home and being in town rather than managing from out of town, and that's really all I have for tonight. With that, there are no appointments. And with that, Jay, adjournment, I'd be happy to take a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Awesome. Rachel, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 We are adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks very much, all.
Yep, thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thanks, you too.
Frank's on back.